Why did Taehyung come with such a stern expression? And why did Jungkook arrive shortly after, as if following a scenario already written? What exactly is behind the HYB gate today? Is this just a coincidence, or a harbinger of something much bigger, more urgent, and more secretive than we think? Jungkook appears shortly after Taehyung. Is this all planned? Is there something urgent going on in HYB? Have you ever seen someone walking fast with a sharp gaze, like they are hiding something heavy? Or watching two people come almost at the same time in one place, without saying anything, but as if the whole world knew that something was happening? That was the atmosphere in front of the HYB building that day. Taehyung arrived first, with an expression that not even the reporters dared to approach. There is no smile, no special wave. Just a straightforward, quick, cold look. And not long after, Jungkook showed up, right behind him, with an attitude as if knowing very well what is happening, or rather, is carrying out part of the same plan. What exactly is going on in HYB today? And why are the two BTS members, who have been known for their closeness and sincerity, suddenly present at almost the same time, without an official agenda announced to the public? Is this a coincidence, or are we witnessing the beginning of something bigger, more shocking, and perhaps more painful? All of a sudden, social media exploded. A short video of Taehyung's arrival recorded by a fan shows an unusually serious expression. He's not what he used to be. One army officer wrote on Twitter, "He's got something to hide." But before the public could conclude, another camera captured Jungkook arriving just minutes later. Her face looked more calm, but there was no denying it. There was unrest behind her eyes. And things got even weirder when the two walked into the HYB building. Without saying a word to anyone outside, HYB issued no statement. There is no clarification. There is no official explanation. Just silence. And as we know, when the Korean entertainment world starts to stand still, usually something big is being arranged behind the scenes. I asked this about BTS's comeback that hasn't actually been announced yet. Or is it related to internal problems that cannot be postponed? Why didn't any of the staff seem to welcome their arrival as usual? Where are their managers? And why does Taehyung's expression seem so much more tense than just a professional affair? Questions after questions began to appear. A large fanbase account known to have close connections to HYB's internal sources wrote code that made the hairs stand up. Something needs to be sorted out urgently. Today is not an ordinary day. That sentence is enough to invite unstoppable speculation. Point one of the rumors was that there was a major conflict involving one of HYB's creative directors, and Taehyung was said to be one of the idols who was most vocal in voicing his disapproval. Was his arrival that day a form of confrontation? And is Jungkook's presence part of support or mediation? More confusingly, many ARMY noticed that Taehyung and Jungkook didn't greet each other on camera at all. No smiles. There is no visual communication. In fact, on various occasions, the two often showed warm chemistry. This silence became more gripping than 1,000 words. Even some local entertainment reporters who were at the scene claimed to feel some air tension when the two went inside. One veteran photographer, who has followed BTS since their debut, said, "I've never seen these two like this. There's something very unusual, and I don't think we're all ready for the truth to come out." How did the other members react? Jimin has not been seen at the scene. RM also does not provide signals on social media. Suga? It is still on the private agenda and has not been involved in any public projects in the past 2 weeks. Jin and J-Hope? There were no signs of activity from them that day. Are they moving away on purpose? Or are they in the same place and not being recorded by the media? Some ARMY began to speculate that this could be related to a major project that HYB plans to announce next month. However, if it was just a matter of project, why was Taehyung's expression so serious? And why does Jungkook look like he just received some unpleasant news? In the CCTV footage that was leaked to Japanese media, a HYB staffer was seen running small towards the main lobby before Taehyung's arrival. And before long, the internal security alarm had sounded, albeit only briefly. All of this begs the question, is there an emergency going on? And did Taehyung and Jungkook come not just as artists, but as parties directly involved in solving the problem? What makes it all the more emotional is the fact that Taehyung had refused to be photographed by reporters. Some eyewitnesses mentioned that he raised his hand towards the camera as if asking for privacy. This is definitely not the usual attitude of idols who are always friendly and professional towards the media. There were also fans who anxiously realized that the bracelet Taehyung usually wears, his friendship bracelet with Jungkook, was not visible on his wrist that day. In fact, it was Jungkook who wore it at a symbolic omen? Are they going through a difficult time in their friendship? Or does it imply that they are exchanging burdens, one replacing the other? All this is too strange to call a coincidence. And it all feels too organized to be called spontaneous. What really happened behind HYB's glass wall that day? Why do two BTS members who are known to be very close to internal conflicts suddenly appear together with an aura as if the world is collapsing? Is it about the future of the group? About pressure from the company? Or is it about feelings that never get spoken about? And more importantly, why do we feel that something will soon change? If you feel like this news holds more questions than answers, you're not alone. Even industry analysts are now beginning to question whether Taehyung and Jungkook's arrival that day was the beginning of the disclosure of a big secret that had been closely guarded by HYB. Are they saving something or saying goodbye? We'll keep digging. We will continue to follow in their footsteps. But for now, one thing we can say for sure, the world is holding its breath. Because two of Korea's golden children have shown that behind a beautiful smile and song, there is another, more human, and perhaps more heartbreaking story that is ready to unfold at any moment. But the most disturbing of all is not only the lack of explanation or direct answers from the agency, but how this whole story about the moment touted as the last time Jungkook and Taehyung actually spoke in person before the breakup was omitted from all official documentation. Yes, there is not a single video content, vlog footage, or behind-the-scenes session that shows them together on that day. Whereas usually, before one of the members leaves the group for personal or military matters, there is always a small farewell session, whether it is a chat, a short message, or a meaningful hug. But this time, nothing. Even staff who are known to often upload candid photos of members were suddenly absent, as if there were strict instructions to silence the entire narrative. What really happened in the training room at that time? What was their last conversation before Jungkook left? Why did only Taehyung seem to be looking at the floor in silence? And why did no one try to stop Jungkook's steps as he walked away without even turning his head? Many fans are starting to notice that something feels off about their interaction patterns in the last few weeks. In various old videos recorded before the news of Jungkook's departure abroad, their gestures began to change. In the past, Taehyung and Jungkook were known to never hesitate to express their affection as best friends. Small touches, sudden hugs, mutual jokes, all that seemed to disappear without a trace. All that remained were the looks that were too quickly diverted and the smiles that seemed forced. Did the two quarrel? Or is there something deeper, more complicated than just a misunderstanding? One of the witnesses, who said he worked on the stage lighting section of their last concert in Seoul, said that after the show was over, Taehyung cried in the waiting room for more than 10 minutes without a sound, clutching a small black notebook. The book, according to him, belongs to Jungkook, but when asked why Taehyung was able to get the book and why he hid it in his pocket before leaving the room, the staffer simply replied, "I think the book is not his, but something left behind." Asked further if it meant Jungkook left something behind before leaving, the man simply shook his head and said, "You wouldn't believe it if I told you the contents." The contents of the book are still a mystery. But rumors quickly spread that in the note was written Jungkook's personal phrase about parting not because you want to, but because you have to. This sentence went viral in the ARMY community and sparked speculation that this separation was not just a matter of personal schedules or wishes, but a heavy decision influenced by many parties, perhaps even controlled by the company. And when the speculation began to spread, all related posts suddenly disappeared from major platforms such as Weverse and Twitter. Even some of the large fanbase accounts that participated in talking about the issue were reportedly temporarily frozen due to unexplained violations. Who is responsible for this massive censorship? At a time when the public thirsts for honesty and transparency, it is precisely silence that is shown. HYBE did not release a single statement, did not argue, did not clarify, just silent. They are known to be very quick to respond to even minor issues. WH. But wait, do you know what happened exactly one day before Jungkook flew to see his family? There's one thing the media doesn't report. A moment known only to some backstage staff and recently started to be discussed secretly among the fanbase in private forums. Taehyung reportedly visited the rehearsal studio at midnight without an official schedule. CCTV cameras showed him arriving quietly, wearing a black hat and oversized hoodie, walking alone to the second-floor training room Jungkook had used the day before. What is he doing there? Why is there no official documentation? And why isn't there any statement from HYBE? Even more strange, that night the lights on the second floor of the studio suddenly turned off for 7 minutes. There is no technical explanation. But one of the security staff noted that when the lights came back on, Taehyung was no longer in the room. Where did he go? Why didn't he go on camera? A longtime staffer who had been on duty that night wrote a sentence that is now a highlight. When the lights came back on, there was a piece of paper taped to the studio mirror. Handwriting. Just 2 words. He knows. No one knows the true meaning of the writing. But some fans suspect the word he in question is Jungkook. So, knows about what? What secret is being hushed up so loudly? We all know that Taehyung and Jungkook's relationship was never limited to coworkers. From the beginning of their debut, the two always showed more emotional closeness than other members. But lately, that intimacy feels like it's slowly slipping away. Their interactions are increasingly distant. Even in the last fan sign, when ARMY asked about the memories of the trainee period, the two only smiled briefly and did not answer. Why? Are they not allowed to talk? Or is it too painful to express? In the midst of this confusion, one source from the industry revealed a surprising thing. HYBE allegedly composed a separation narrative between Taehyung and Jungkook as early as 6 months before their breakup that was seen in the media. The goal? To avoid emotional attachment that interferes with the focus of individual personal branding. The sentence is so piercing. Is their emotional closeness considered a threat by the agency itself? If true, then we are not only talking about separation, but about an intervention that robs the purity of the relationship of two people who have been trusted to support each other. It's no longer about promotion. It's about manipulation. And if there really was an order from above to separate them, then this is no longer speculation, but tragedy. Some old video snippets have now gone viral again on social media, most notably one footage from a concert in Osaka 2 years ago. Taehyung was seen staring at Jungkook for more than 20 seconds as JK performed his solo song. Taehyung's facial expression was intense, as if he wanted to say something. But when the camera's focus shifted to him, he immediately lowered his head. And now, after everything that's happened, that snippet feels like a pending message. A message that was never delivered. What makes this situation even more painful is the fact that ARMY can only be a spectator in this silent drama. There is no clarity, no official statement, no recognition. Only vague signs, fragments of emotions, and long deafening pauses remained. Then came the more pressing question. Were they still talking to each other? Is there still room for a reunion? Or is it all really over? When Jungkook uploaded his first story after 2 weeks of disappearance, there was nothing written. Only dark videos with the sound of piano instruments sound softly. The song played was the same one she and Taehyung had spent New Year's Eve 3 years ago on V Live. A moment that is now only a bitter memory. Was the upload intentional? Or is it just a coincidence? Instead, Taehyung was spotted at a small cafe in the Itaewon area, talking to an old man who was allegedly his old vocal coach. Some fans who approached claimed to hear a brief conversation as Taehyung said, "I want to go back to being who I was. But somehow I feel like I've gone too far." The sentence is piercing. Back to where? And too far from whom? HYBE herself remained silent. No official statement, no clarification, and no intention to answer the big questions that now hang in the air. As local media tried to confirm, the response provided was only one cold line. We do not comment on the personal relationships of our artists. Is it just a personal relationship? Or has it touched the realm of morality and emotional protection? A source close to BTS, former content production staff, said that there have been plans to release a special documentary highlighting the emotional bond between the members, but the project was cancelled because it was too honest and emotional. Is being too honest a problem?